How to stop comparing your finances to everyone else. Sounds simple, right? But it's not. You scroll through social media and see people buying new cars, going on vacations, moving into bigger homes, and suddenly, your own life feels smaller. You start wondering where you went wrong, why your paycheck disappears so fast, why saving seems harder for you than for everyone else. The truth is, this constant comparison steals your peace, your focus, and even your motivation to grow. Because when you measure your worth through someone else's wallet, you lose sight of your own path. You wake up already tired, even before the day begins. Bills wait on the table, the rent is due, and your card balance is almost maxed out. You tell yourself that next month will be different, but somehow it never is. You look around and see everyone else moving forward while you feel stuck in the same place. That quiet voice in your mind whispers, "What's wrong with me?" Every time you compare your finances to someone else's, that voice gets louder. It drains your energy, makes you feel behind, unworthy. You start chasing things just to feel enough. A new phone, a weekend trip, a little something to fill the emptiness. But the peace never comes. The more you try to keep up, the more you lose control. Money turns into a constant source of stress. You can't relax because you're always counting, always worrying. You lie in bed doing math in your head, wondering if you'll have enough for everything. The pressure builds, and even simple things feel heavy. Buying groceries, paying for gas, saying no to a dinner invite. That's the trap. Comparison keeps you blind to your own progress. You don't see the small victories, only what you still lack. And the worst part, you forget that nobody posts their struggles online. You compare your behind the scenes with someone else's highlight reel. And while you chase their version of success, you drift further from your own. The truth is, no one ever taught us how to handle money. We learned math, history, and science, but not how to deal with bills, emotions, or pressure. Most people grow up thinking money is something complicated, almost mysterious, something only a few can truly control. So we end up copying what we see around us, spending when others spend, buying what others buy, chasing what looks like success. That's why comparing your finances to everyone else feels so natural. It's not about greed, it's about confusion. You just want to feel like you're doing okay, like you're not falling behind. But the system never played fair. It pushed you to consume before teaching you to plan. It sold you the dream of having more instead of the peace of needing less. Yet, here's the good news. This can change. You don't need to understand the stock market or memorize investment terms. You only need small, consistent steps. Not dramatic ones, just honest ones. Start by looking at your habits, not your balance. Notice where your money goes, not where others spend theirs. Because the moment you stop trying to keep up, you start moving forward. Real progress begins in silence, in small decisions that nobody sees. It's not about perfection, it's about direction. And every time you choose awareness over comparison, you take back a little more control of your life. You know that quick rush you feel when you buy something new? That tiny spark that makes you forget the stress for a while? It feels good, almost like relief. But that feeling fades fast, and what stays is the same emptiness you tried to cover. That's the trap of impulsive spending. It promises comfort, but delivers more weight. Most of the time, it's not even about the item. It's about the emotion behind it. You feel tired, anxious, maybe a bit lost, and your mind looks for a way out. Buying becomes a momentary escape, a small illusion of control. You tell yourself you deserve it, and for a few minutes, it feels true. Then reality knocks. The bank app reminds you of what you already knew, that you didn't need it, and it didn't help. Each impulse pulls you further from what you really want: peace of mind, stability, freedom. Because every unplanned expense is not just money gone, it's time gone. Time you worked for, traded for a moment of comfort. And the more this cycle repeats, the more it shapes your emotions. You start associating happiness with spending and guilt with saving. Breaking this pattern isn't about cutting all pleasure. It's about awareness. Every time you pause before buying, you take back power. You stop letting your emotions control your wallet, and start letting your choices shape your future. Credit cards, loans, buy now, pay later. They all whisper the same lie. You can have it now. And for a moment, it feels amazing. You tap, swipe, or click, and suddenly, the thing you wanted is yours. No delay, no effort, no waiting. But deep down, you know it's not really yours. You borrowed it from your future. This illusion of easy money is what keeps so many people trapped. It makes you believe you're in control, when in fact, you're slowly giving it away. The comfort of paying later hides the truth, that you're building invisible walls around your freedom. Because every time you trade patience for instant gratification, you tie yourself a little tighter to the system that profits from your anxiety. The worst part is how normal it feels. Everyone around you does the same. Swiping becomes routine, debt becomes lifestyle. You don't even notice the weight until it starts stealing your sleep. Bills pile up, interest grows, and the joy of buying fades into regret. But it doesn't have to stay that way. You can flip the script. Start using money as a tool, not a trap. Question every easy offer that promises happiness now and peace later, because peace never comes from what's borrowed. It comes from what's earned, built, and respected. That's real freedom. It's never the big purchases that break you first. It's the small ones, the ones you don't even notice. A coffee here, a delivery there, a streaming subscription you barely use. Each feels harmless, just a few dollars. But over time, they pile up like invisible chains. Little by little, those habits start shaping your life more than your dreams do. You don't feel trapped right away. The trap is quiet. You only notice it when you can't do something you truly want. Take a trip, start a project, breathe without worrying about the next bill. That's when it hits you. Freedom slipped away through small cracks. It wasn't one big mistake. It was 100 tiny. It's just a little. Money has a strange way of reflecting choices. It's not about how much you earn, but how much you keep, how you use it, how aware you are. Every unnecessary purchase is a trade. Your time, your peace, your future, exchanged for a few minutes of comfort. But awareness changes everything. When you start paying attention, you realize that small choices also build freedom. The same way you lost it, you can rebuild it, one decision at a time. Say no to what doesn't matter, so you can say yes to what truly does. Most people don't spend money to feel happy. They spend to feel seen, to look like they're doing well. A new phone, a brand name outfit, the latest gadget. It's not always about need, it's about validation. You want others to notice, to think you're successful, stable, winning. But that kind of happiness fades fast, because it depends on someone else's eyes. Gastar para status am jogo sem fim. The moment you reach one level, someone else raises the bar. There's always a newer car, a bigger house, a flashier lifestyle. And while you chase appearances, the real joy, the quiet kind, slips away. You work harder, spend more, but feel emptier. Because deep down, what you want isn't attention, it's peace. True happiness doesn't scream, it feels calm. It's buying something because it adds value to your life, not because it adds value to your image. It's knowing your money serves you, not the other way around. When you stop chasing approval, you start living with purpose. Every dollar begins to carry intention. You realize that joy doesn't come from showing others you have more. It comes from knowing you finally have enough. Freedom isn't built in a single dramatic move. It's built in the quiet, small habits that nobody notices. Saving a little each week, cooking at home instead of ordering out, skipping that unnecessary impulse buy. These tiny decisions add up. Slowly, invisibly, they start to shift your life. Most people think they need big salaries or clever tricks to get ahead. But that's a myth. Real change comes from consistency, from repeating small choices that respect your money and your future. One coffee saved today may not seem like much, but a week later it's noticeable, a month later it grows, and a year later it's a seed for real freedom. The magic is in awareness. Each time you pause and think, do I really need this? You train your mind to prioritize what matters. You stop reacting and start choosing. You take control over your life, not just your wallet. And the best part, These habits don't feel like sacrifice once you see them as tools for your freedom. Each small victory gives confidence. You begin to notice progress, even if it's invisible to others. That's how real peace starts, quietly, one mindful choice at a time. Planning for the future doesn't need to be scary or complicated. You don't need endless spreadsheets or complex apps. It starts with simple questions. What do I want? What matters most? Then, take small steps to protect those things. A little set aside each month, a simple budget, a clear understanding of what's coming. That's enough to feel in control. Most people avoid thinking about the future because it feels overwhelming. Bills, debt, unexpected expenses. It's easier to ignore it. But avoidance only grows the stress. When you face it with simple, practical actions, that weight starts to lift. Even small preparations, an emergency fund, a few savings jars, a plan for your dreams, create a sense of freedom. The key is consistency, not perfection. One conscious choice today, another tomorrow, and soon your money works for you instead of against you. You stop reacting and start creating the life you want. You realize that planning doesn't limit joy, it protects it. When you plan this way, without pressure or complexity, your finances become a tool, not a burden. And suddenly, comparison loses power. You see that the only path that matters is your own, and that path can be calm, confident, and fully yours. There's a quiet power in knowing you control your money. It doesn't feel flashy or impressive, but it feels like freedom. You wake up without that tight knot in your stomach, without fear that bills will surprise you. You breathe, you plan, you act, and your choices start to shape your life instead of chasing someone else's. Control isn't about perfection. It's about awareness, consistency, and respect for your own path. Each mindful purchase, each little habit, each plan for the future adds up. Slowly, the noise of comparison fades. Social media, flashy lifestyles, the pressure to keep up, they don't disappear, but they stop controlling you. When you stop measuring your life through someone else's finances, you finally see your own progress. You notice the small wins, the habits that bring peace, the freedom that comes from saying yes to what matters and no to what doesn't. That's real wealth, calm, steady, and yours. And the best part, this kind of peace doesn't depend on how much you earn or on what you show the world. It depends on the choices you make, the consistency you build, and the awareness you carry. That's how you stop comparing your finances to everyone else, by realizing your life, your money, and your peace belong only to you. How to stop comparing your finances to everyone else isn't about earning more. It's about seeing clearly what you already have. The stress, the guilt, the endless comparison, it can end. One small choice today, one habit changed, one moment of awareness, and you start taking back control. The secret isn't in chasing more, it's in directing what's already yours. Each mindful decision brings freedom. Each pause before spending brings peace. Caring for your money isn't just about numbers. It's about shaping your life, protecting your dreams, and building a calm future. Start small, start now. Notice your habits, make one conscious choice, and feel the difference. Your life, your money, your freedom, it all begins with awareness.